I was pretty much your run-of-the-mill college student. I was enjoying my life, hanging out with friends, had all these exciting opportunities on the horizon, and then I woke up one day, very out of the blue, and I noticed that the world looked different, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it at first. But eventually, when what I was seeing didn't go away, I studied it more closely and realized I was seeing stars and what looked like television static in both eyes, whether my eyes were open or closed. So that prompted me to go out of school at that point, and I began sort of a medical journey with doctors trying to figure out what was going on. I wish I could tell you that something prompted it or some event connected to me developing visual snow, but as far as I can recall, there is no connection between any event and me developing visual snow. It was very random. The visual snow itself was the first symptom to appear. Then came the other symptoms, which some visual snow patients will tell you they do or don't have. Everyone's different, but there's a common occurrence of tingling or numbness in the extremities. Migraines are also another common one, and I experienced those roughly a few days after actually my visual snow developed, and have continued to this day on and off. The visual snow is constant, 24/7. I live with what looks like a snowstorm going on in my eyes, trying to peer through a window that looks dirty, but the other symptoms wax and wane. So the migraines, the tingling, numbness in the hands and feet, etc., that all is more episodic. My first instinct when this all started was panic, I must be honest. My number one fear in life was going blind, and this seemed like a gateway to that, if I'm being honest, because visual snow is 24/7, it's constant, and it looks like your vision's deteriorating almost, and it makes it hard to see. I was fearful that I would go blind, so that prompted me to visit an ophthalmologist who said that structurally my eyes look fine, sent me to one of the best facilities for eye diseases in the country at that point. They ran a conglomerate of Clockwork Orange-like tests on me, which I was happy to oblige because, again, I thought I was going blind and that they could potentially help me. Everything came back clear. So at that point, I got sent to neurology, did PET scans, MRIs, many of them, which a lot of the tests I was subjected to were for cancer patients too. So they were really trying to cover the whole gamut of what could be wrong, because oftentimes visual illnesses, they have some sort of neurological genesis. So brain tumors, right? They can cause you to see stars and other things like that. So we had to rule all those things out, which they did get ruled out, but I was left with no answers. I've seen every specialist under the sun to try to treat my visual snow, none of which who could help me. I do appreciate their attempts to. It just seemed that they were either unfamiliar with the condition or throwing medication at me that I didn't need in an attempt to fix the visual snow, but those came with a conglomerate of side effects, so I was not a fan and didn't want to take them anymore. They tried anticonvulsants, anti-seizure medications, migraine medication. Those come with their own set of dangerous side effects. So not only did they help my visual snow, not only did the medication not help my visual snow that they wanted to give me, it just induced really awful side effects. And I was before this all happened to me, a very high functioning person. So with the conjunction of visual snow and being on medication that I had no business being on because I don't have seizures, I'm not epileptic, I don't need anticonvulsants, that just made me unable to live my life at that point. So I couldn't see well, and then just other dangerous things happening. It was brutal. And because of my stature, I'm quite small, the medication that they did give me was a dose for a man twice my size. So I was really hit hard with the side effects and then had to get off of those medications. Once I got off of the medication, I was left with just visual snow, so I was happy not to obviously be having side effects, but I couldn't help but think, God, I wonder how many people are going through the same thing. And how are they surviving this? How are they living, having gone through what I just went through, which is, first of all, being given hope in the form of a potential solution, a medication that could help, and then having that dashed and made your quality of life worse because, again, not only are you suffering with something that's now untreatable, apparently you're suffering with visual snow, which cannot be treated, you're also suffering with side effects, which then the side effects of neurological medications themselves can even kill you. I knew something was wrong from the moment I developed visual snow because what I was seeing was not normal. And I was seeking validation from doctors in some form that what I was experiencing wasn't normal, and then hoping that they could give me some potential solution. That never came. And I became fearful because of all the suppositions that they had made about what could be wrong with me. That I was going to die, that I was going blind, that I had a brain tumor, because clearly something isn't right if your vision is compromised, if you're seeing lights everywhere 24/7, something's up. But because they couldn't find anything, but we knew something was wrong, I was left to wonder, so what is wrong? And then the wheels started turning, and that becomes very hard to live your life when you're almost waiting for a bomb to go off. You're waiting to see what is this thing that's causing me to see this way, and when is it gonna take my life? When is it gonna take my entire field of vision? When is everything gonna get worse? So that was really like the biggest fear with medicine. I essentially had to become my own advocate. So I started looking online to find answers. And luckily I was able to find some studies that had been conducted on visual snow, which was more than my doctors were offering me at the time because they just didn't know anything. But beyond finding a few studies that had been done, I also found support online. There were sufferers like me, not only in the United States, but all over the world. And everyone seemed just as determined as I was to find some answers and find a potential cure. So we were all communicating and trying to figure things out with one another, seeing what could help. And that was really uplifting, seeing that just that I wasn't alone. There was so much comfort in knowing that, hey, you're not dying, because I have visual snow too, and I've been alive for however long, and I'm okay. And it was also relieving to see people who were high functioning and doing so much with their lives and not letting their visual snow get them down, and it almost inspired me. And for a lot of people, having visual snow, it didn't derail their life the way that it derailed mine. So I was able to look at them and say, okay, maybe I can do it too. And I'm really excited about what the future holds for visual snow research, because we're closer, more so now than ever. And people have started to talk, we're being heard, and there's so much catharsis and relief in just being acknowledged, even slightly, and also knowing that you're not alone.